Here's some of the moment of silence. Pray or if you wish, we may better be able to do the business of the county this evening. Thank you. We'll have our land acknowledgement. We have our land acknowledgements. I'd like to acknowledge that we're on the ancestral territories of the Mi'kmaq people. I want to thank the Mi'kmaq people of today for all the help that their ancestors gave to our ancestors when they arrived, but it was 400 years ago or 4 years ago. We are all treaty people. Okay, now we'll move on to, we need an approval of the agenda.
So moved to.
Moved and seconded by Mary. Councillor Elliott. Are there any additions? Go ahead, Councillor DeBerg.
I respectfully request the addition of a brief student advisory council report where you wish to put it. At least don't know how to read the hospital.
The resolution. Let's do where you have the resolution. It's not a resolution, but we'll call it 9-1. That's a school advisory report.
Council report, yeah.
Okay, with that addition, we've had a mover and seconder, all those in favor?
Aye.
Names, motion carried. We have any emergency resolutions to meet? Seeing none, moving along. So our minutes of our last monthly meeting, September 5th meeting, are there any errors, omissions, or corrections to those minutes? The errors, omissions, corrections to them. Any errors, omissions, corrections to the minutes of September 5th? Hearing none, I'll declare those approved as presented. Now, you have two pieces of correspondence, which were uncirculated. A thank you to the McCullough Education Center for Breakfast and Backpack Program grants. A thank you from the Trenton Elementary for breakfast and backpack programs. Good to see those being appreciated as school starts up again. On the correspondence that was circulated to you, one item from the Minister of Public Works regarding potential offshore wind energy developments near the Strait of Canso and the need for supporting infrastructure. So you'll remember we had quite a bit of discussion over this topic a few months back and sent a letter to the Minister of Public Works. Is there anybody want to ask questions or comments on that letter? Hearing none, we'll bring along. Very pleased tonight. We have young Gordon Nicholson with us and his family. And he recently placed third in his age group for Golf Canada's national skills competition. I think I could even hit the mic all along in the hole. I want to read this recognition before we present Gordon with the file. Council for the municipality of Hickory County would like to take this time to honor a rising star from Gray Shore, Hickory County, Gordon Nicholson. 10-year-old Gordon started playing golf during the pandemic with his parents, Rochelle and Andrew, and they quickly realized he had a natural talent. This year, he competed in the Maple Leaf Junior Golf Tour, where he excelled. He won 4 of the 5 events to finish in first place in the boys 9 and 10 age group with a stroke average of 79.14. As Atlantic champion, Gordon earned an invite to the MJT Mini Tour National Championship in Sawasson Springs, BC. He represented Hector County well, proving he has what it takes to compete against the best of the country. He also achieved closest to the hole for his age group in the tournament. On behalf of our community, we would like to congratulate Gordon on his success and wish him best of luck as he continues his athletic career. Congratulations, Gordon. You have it all ready for us there. Councilor McKeel is going to join me.
So you come up.
Yes, in here. I'm gonna get my. Okay, I'm not sure. How's it going? We'll get to it.
You don't want to say this. Very clearly, it's not anything else, right? Congratulations.
Thanks, folks.
Congratulations.
Okay, we'll get back on track here. Very pleased tonight to have Brenda Serving Goodman with us to speak about the province's growing pit population and the danger it presents. Everybody probably know Brenda as a green. Has been a big advocate for all of us to be watchful for ticks and all the problems that come with them. So very pleased to have you here tonight, Brenda, and go ahead and the floor is yours.
Jason, share the information about this growing problem in the province. And I brought my little friend of mine here, the line-aware bear who likes to travel the world. Anyway, no tick is a good tick. We all have the potential of very disease. There are 14 different species of ticks in the province of Nova Scotia. And the three most common ticks found on dogs are the American dog tick, ticks, black-legged tick, also known as the deer tick, and the groundhog tick. Nova Scotia has a high incidence of ticks and Lyme in all of Canada, with Ontario coming in second. The new estimated Lyme risk map came out in July of 2023 and had not been updated since 2019. Pictou County has been noted to be at a higher risk than 2015. We are now all at higher risk in this province. Nova Scotia is endemic. There must be more than the spread awareness and education. There are still people who do not know about tick-borne disease and take care of it. Lyme became a reportable illness in Nova Scotia in 2009. There's more than one strain of Borrelia that can cause infection. And they're only testing for one strain of bacteria. There are many strains, and I don't know if this has changed or not. This year in 2023, the tick-borne diseases of anaplasmosis, or BCF, the Lawson virus, became reportable illnesses along with monkeypox. Anaplasmosis is a bacterial infection. FEC is a protozoan infection similar to malaria, happens in red blood cells. For Boston virus, there's only one type. There are other infections of security that are not reported or to now. It is high numbers of the tick population. The study done that now showed the high curve of the ticks. And ticks can carry other viruses, parasites, and infections such as tuberculosis, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, flu, and alpha-gal, which is a syndrome that makes one allergic to red meat as a result of the antibodies in the tick virus. There are people in this province with alpha-gal. Climate change has brought new species into our province that we haven't seen here before. There are sharks in the water around us, just as we're seeing different birds in this. There's more known about the sharks being in our waters than the ticks being here on the land. I think the ticks cause a bigger problem than the sharks. The tick lifestyle. Ticks are not insects. They're a member of their arachnid family. They're spiders. They belong to the spider family. There certainly is need for more research. Ticks are very, very strong like the second, third, or fourth. They are active anytime the temperature is up 4 degrees Celsius. So that means they can be found in every month of the year. Don't have them. Ticks take 2 to 3 years to complete their lifespan. And they require 1 glass meal, 1 blood meal, complete cycle. The adult ticks lay their eggs in the spring. And then they will hatch out into a very small 6-legged larvae in late spring and summer. Larvae do not carry disease, but will pick up their first dose of whatever disease they bite with a nose, raccoon or bird may be here. And not all ticks are infected, but the number can be increased over the year. Depending on where you are in the province, it's anywhere from 20 to 70% of the ticks. The larvae will then drop off and evolve to the next stage of their lifespan. The larvae change and become a little 8-legged between fall and the next summer. And the nymphs are the ones that cause the biggest concern in the spring. April to July is the weather warms up and they're seeing blood from a larger. The nymphs will crawl up on vegetation such as grass in front, and they just wait there. They put out their front legs in a position known as questing. Ticks do not fly or jump, they crawl. Their front legs out waiting. And they do not look for their host. They sniff you out. They have little organs on the front of their first set of legs. And they're there sniffing you out. Then they'll crawl on board and they'll crawl around looking for a nice spot to put in their mouth. And if the tick was not infected the first time in the larva stage, it might climb on board a host that carries the infection in tick. And then in the fall, the nymphs will drop off and hold to the adult stage, where they become either a male or a female tick. Adults are most active during the colder months. The adults will see how the larger host of either a dog, if you would, or whatever is in the track. The one is on board, where the female will be seeking out the male to mate. And the males will some will be in small male, or they won't be at all. They're just hunting for their mate. Whereas the female tick the past year period of time takes a larger blood meal. But she needs to ripen and have her eggs mature so they can have it. And once they have made it, the female tick will drop off into the environment and nails drop off. And then the female will, rest and eggs are maturing. And in the spring, female will lay her eggs so that she will die. Now that you know a little bit about the pig life cycle, you need to know how to protect yourself and family and your pet. Pigs are a problem. Lyme can mimic over 300 conditions, many of which have no known cause. That's not to say that there might be more than one root cause of some of these health conditions. Some of these conditions include ALS, fibromyalgia, lupus, MS, Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, schizophrenia, and so much more. Protect yourself and be aware. Proper dress, repellents, substance elements, a good choice. And they have been certified by the government in 2022. So they jumped through the roof and they're now certified with the repellent. I also recommend a body test. Shower within 2 hours of coming inside. Put your clothes in the dryer. If you find an attached tick, then the tick can be tested. Genetics. There's a company where you can send the tick for testing, or you'll have to pay out the cost. In 2011, it was stopped the government testing of ticks because they knew there was a problem, so they were funding testing. It's also important to know the proper removal of the tick. We shouldn't be touching with your hand. Switch ticks because contact with fluids from a ruptured tick, especially if you have had some scratches on your hand. You can get the infection. Also, that Lyme can be congenital. Mother to unborn baby. The noted venous TB. Organ donation, blood transfusion. There's more than one way of getting the infection. And it could be more than just the Lyme you're getting infected. Awareness and education are important. These infections are not to be taken lightly. And I think there's a need for continued research and up-to-date education for health care providers. I think there's a need for designated clinical departments that will deal with zoonotic vector transmitted infection. At these times, if you see a doctor, they only deal with one problem. And one can affect the organs, system of the body, it can be different from each person. Those two people are the same. Now, it has been said that it takes 36 to 48 hours to transmit the infection. Wrong answer. As soon as the tick is out there smelling out there, the juices start to flow, just like you're smelling something delicious for dinner, and it's alive and starts flowing for us. Has been noted that Lyme has been transmitted in less than 3 hours. So we'll need to think that there is 6 to 48 hours. Don't tick is a good tick, and they can all spread infection. Just want everyone to be aware that this big problem, and there's still people who have not heard of ticks and Lyme disease. What else I can tell you about the problem?
Maybe we'll
Growing.
open it up for some questions, Brenda. Maybe some of the councilors have questions, and we'll open it up for that. Yeah, well, that's, I would ask, but I want to say, I thank you for a long time being a strong advocate for this Lyme disease and ticks and everything. Because the medical community, as far as I've been told, doesn't necessarily accept this as being serious. And yet it is, your evidence shows that, and I had a visit a month ago from roommate way back in my college days, and his wife, is very similar to you, has had Lyme now for about 3 or 4 years, and very limited in what she can do. This is the first time they've been able to travel, but she informed me of some of the stuff I heard you tonight that I didn't realize. I guess not up on my biology, that attendance arachnophobia is a spider family. I would have just thought it was another bug. But have you got any questions? Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, Brenda, thanks for coming. And can you give us a little bit about your predicament? What caused your Lyme and how you came in contact with it and what caused you over the years?
Probably not. My life. And yes, we had contact on a regular basis. And remember looking what seemed like hundreds of things. Yes, there were squash ticks. Yes, I had some scratches on my hand. And at that time, Tim was just starting to talk about Lyme disease and testing. So, yes, I know that's where I got it. And then, you know, trying to seek answers and help challenge. I figured out what I did with the healthcare system did nothing to help. My doctor dismissed me. I've been gaslighted, mocked, and laughed at. I had an infectious disease doctor tell me the veterinarians do nothing. I was so sick at the time, Dad was bitten that thing. Also told me he knew nothing about Lyme. Wasn't on their radar. And I certainly do feel it's not totally on the radar yet. We would change that. Doctors who were working with Lyme patients that were forced to either retire or lose their license. This has to change. There's always more than one way to treat the problem. And the idea that, you know, the pharmacy will give you detail if you go up and say you get a tick by the shoulder and the tick. For something that has the 28-day lifespan. The Lyme bacteria has a 28-day lifespan. And usually when you're treating with you hit it for a few lifespans. So 6 to 8 weeks is a better short.
Just one other question, if we could.
Go ahead.
How many specialists is there looking at Lyme disease, do you know?
Well, there are different research working on. I've talked about. First. You've heard of it. As what they studied in school, she said, that's not a virus. I don't think we have a problem in this province yet with Western, but I certainly know we do with Lyme. And talking to my veterinary friend, once they told me they had 5 positive dogs in one day. They see.
Okay, question from Councilor Deeper.
Thank you, Warden Becker. First of all, Brenda, I want to thank you and see for literally years of work to raise awareness of this, fortunately, ever increasing problem. The advice I received was that if you find a tick that is bitten on one that's on your arm, on the back of your neck. One that's actually, for the most part, into your flesh. If you remove the tick, take it to your pharmacist. Our pharmacist, quote, trained up to date on identifying tick by species. That's my first question.
Hopefully they can tell whether it's dog tick or black tick. But, you know, my feeling is and then they'll send it for testing, and yes, you will have to pay for the test. But peace of mind is priceless. I know a gentleman in Halifax contacted me, a 3-year-old that we fight, and yes, they had the tick. I gave him the whole 9 yards of the different testing. He chose to test for absolutely. And $300 to get the tick tested for everything. Contacted me. Tick was negative. I'm so thankful you told me that. That's money we have ever spent.
Okay, my next question, we have 3 dogs at home. Two of them are my sons, and one of them's ours, and they're in and out all the time. On our little property. And we started noticing probably like February to March. That almost daily, sometimes several times a day, we were finding the nymphs.
Yeah.
Little tiny 8-legged critter. I don't recall, now our dogs are treated. That medication that supposedly has some,
Are they vaccinated or just topical?
I think it's a pill treatment. Yeah. My question is, do those little nymphs usually bite? We usually find them inside the hair of the dog.
Well, they're walking around still. Ticks when they get on their coat. They don't jump in and fight right away. You know,
Yeah.
they hunt around with the perfect location. You put their mouth parts.
Those nymphs do bite.
Oh, yes, they do bite.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are most dangerous. You
Why are they the most dangerous?
they're looking for a larger coat. Larval stage, they're usually on mice, but they don't travel very far. And they just kind of taking it. It's been traveled at a rate of 47 kilometers a year. According to the CDMXD that we were in a contract. And the deer, I call them the tic-tac. Deer travel quite a bit. And birds, migrating birds come into the area. And I call those the parachute droppers. You know, the birds fly in and the new ticks from who knows where parachute into the new environment.
Well, do you believe that's a premier method of spreading quickly?
Yes. And I've talked to people who have fenced-in backyards and swimming pools, and they told me they find ticks in their yards. Everybody takes the deer that are out. Birds. I'll bring the ticks in the area and the deer. Actually, them about the province. There are more deer in town than there are in the country now.
Are the ticks more common in grassy or bushy areas than they are in the deep woods?
They can be anywhere and everywhere now. I've had people tell me they had ticks on them in their own backyard,
Oh,
on golf courses, beaches. And I've heard of children coming home from school with them.
okay, thank you. Keep up the good work.
Okay, Councilor Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd, and welcome, Brenda. With that, as Mr. mentioned, I think medication has been developed and is somewhat effective in the treatment of cats and dogs. Why haven't there been advancements in regards to preventative medication for humans?
And Councilor Rowland?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And to thank you again for coming on. I certainly appreciate it. 3 weeks ago tonight, actually, we had an incident in our home with a dog and one of her dogs. Things came on really fast. He was in trials, agility trials, one Sunday, Tuesday, he was almost dead. And so she rushed into the vet in her town and they did blood work on just they thought it might have been a flu or infection. And within an hour, once she got home, the call came in that they had to run. So they were able to find it out right away. They are vaccinated against, both her dogs are vaccinated against Lyme because where we live in the country and Kingshead is a hotbed for ticks. Anyways, she had rushed into Halifax before Foss Hospital up there because it had attacked his kidneys. It's a rare form of Lyme and it wasn't covered, but it wasn't covered by the vaccine and it attacked his kidneys. I mean, she still has them today, but he's on powerful medication and especially diet, and she's doing everything she can to keep her as long as she can because it's her pet. But it just made me realize how destructive this disease is, and it can happen so fast. It was, like I said, within an hour, we got the diagnosis. But they were able to do the test and find out right away. It's a daughter rocket. It took them almost a month to find out that the kid had Lyme. So it just doesn't make sense that it takes that long for something as dangerous.
In humans, they're looking for the antibody protection. As it takes time for your body to produce the antibody that will go on the testing. And often the sickest people will never develop it. Lyme is the clinical diagnosis. There's a checklist of symptoms to go through. And, you know, if they show up, it's possible you have Lyme. I had 38 out of 42 symptoms, I guess, when I looked at that way back when. It's a long line. Concerned about the little people.
And Councilor Roberts?
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Brenda, Steve, for coming tonight. I just want to mention the woman that I work with, her 9-year-old child had his face drooped down, it's like he was.
Bell's palsy is what it's called.
So she took him to the hospital and all that stuff. They sent away his blood for a test to see if he had Lyme disease. 2 months later, it comes back. It's called saying, So she had to go to the pharmacist and get the penicillin. So, but here you are 14 days in. And you say it's over a 28-day cycle. And
Not long enough.
it seems like it's taking too long to diagnose these problems, right? Especially young kids. So why is there such a delay? Do they send blood away to, is it Halifax or is it both?
So the blood is originally goes to Halifax. It can end up going to Winnipeg. You know, I had blood work done in Nova Scotia way back when. Lots of positive. Or it showed something, so they sent it to Winnipeg. 10 weeks later, I find out all they did was repeat the ELISA test without the Western blot. I continue to fight the system and try and find where you get blood work. And I talked to the head of the Winnipeg lab and what they blood work done. They did the Western blot, multiple was negative. And then I asked what bands were showing, and one band is specific for only Lyme disease. So I asked, how can you say I'm not exposed when I have you specific only for Lyme? And I said testing in the states. Positive even by CDC saying I didn't have Lyme again. They labeled me with presumptive image. I said to the neurologist, and that means I can presume you're an idiot too, because what does the word presumptive mean? Yes, no.
Well, it is a major problem, especially down in that area. So it's not, so. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for everything.
Okay, any more hands? So, thank you again, Brenda, for coming in today. Is gives us some very important topics on the pension. It has to be, and you've done a great job. I agree. The farmers market. Well, I must ask the question: is there any connection between the green and Lyme disease?
Yes, Lyme disease. In Lyme, in a place called Lyme, Connecticut, there were several children that were told they had rheumatoid arthritis. There was a mother who was hunting. Trained with all these children. When bacterium was noted, the Borrelia bacteria was noted, and it was labeled called Lyme disease from Lyme.
Okay.
So that and the Lyme disease.
You certainly doesn't have on the covers, and it's important because it makes it stand out, you know, as a people remember. But again, on behalf of all of our councillors and council vote, did I miss something?
Just one quick.
Okay,
Brenda, it is true though, that the Workers' Compensation Board of Nova Scotia has determined that you have Lyme, right?
Yes, it was accepted by you. Question is, if we think that we're fighting,
go ahead.
the other thing I was going to say about Lyme Connecticut, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, Lou Gehrig's summers in Lyme, Connecticut. ALS is something unknown cause, not to say that he could have had a bacterial infection causes ALS.
That's something. Go ahead, please.
I'm going to mention that, but you need to do it. I hope that you get this cautionary piece. Friends told me last week when we were on deck, having another chance to enjoy this late summer. But she said 4 out of 5 spousal relationships crash. And one of those partners gets Lyme. They either dismiss it, one doesn't have it, against the one who has, or they just give up. So if it happens to one of your loved ones, be ready for a fight. Never ends.
And that's very true. As a couple, I mentioned that it come down to Ontario. Yeah, their whole life changed completely. They were traveling the world. He had retired from farming, and they were, you know, having a good time and everything. And suddenly, their whole life. In fact, they had to shift from Sun Sample to California. And to drive it to Toronto to the airport themselves and get it on a plane to California within so many hours.
That I've had blood shipped to California. I've had blood shipped to Army labs in Germany, one of the top labs in Germany. I had a mouth swab and urine sample cultures that were stained Borrelia. I had a loose toothpick grafted that was sent to DNA testing and feedback positive. So I think I have enough for now that, yes, I do have mine to see.
There's no doubt about that, there's no doubt you're an excellent advocate and helping all of our constituents, let's say, out there by bringing this to attention. Many people know about it now, there's one thing to know, but another thing to actually pay that close attention when your kids come in from outside or you've been in the woods or whatever, to make sure you check closely or with pets or whatever, so you can never have too much education and awareness. You've done a great job, so we thank you on behalf of the, all the people of our rural municipality. Thank you, and thank you for coming in with us to speak. We know you well. Okay, so we'll move right along, to our resolutions and, Councilor Jordan, your first.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Resolution being resolved that the council of the municipality of the county of Pitt to adopt the following resolution for municipal service grants. District Court. Cape John Harbor Authority $1,800. Repairs and supplies total $1,800. District 7, Forest Hill Cemetery $1,306.25 cemetery maintenance. District 11, Plymouth Fire Department $1,500 equipment purchases. Sunny Gray Cemetery $400 maintenance for a total of $1,900. Dated at Pictou NS on the 3rd day of October 2023. Signed by myself, Councillor Chester Gordon, seconded by Councillor Ian Thompson. So seconded.
Okay, then you heard the motion, on the municipal service grants, totaling 1,900. Have been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on that resolution?
1,900 one was just for the District 11.
Oh, sorry.
There's only, there's no grand total there.
There's no grand total. Oh, I did tell the previous one, but no grand total. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any questions on that resolution? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
I,
Against? Carried. Now, we have our J-Class road funding approval, Council Dave Park.
Roger. Resolution, whereas the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works is notified the municipality of the county of Pictou of more than the 10% cost overruns on the 2023-24 J-Class subdivision street paving. Whereas the council has reviewed the paving of the following J-Class subdivision streets and new cost share amounts, which include Second Avenue, new cost share amount of $28,500. Happy Lane, the cost share amount is $113,000. And Drew Road, the cost share amount is $284,000. Be resolved by the municipality of the county of Pictou, approve the new cost share amounts provided by the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works. So the paving can be completed this fiscal year, dated at Pictou NS. This is 3rd day of October 2023. Moved by myself, Councilor David Parker, second by Councilor Barry Elliott.
Okay, for the resolution on the J-Class road funding approval, because it's over the 10%, the price we agreed to. They moved and seconded. Are there any questions on that resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor?
I,
Against? Motion carried. Councilor Teal, you're doing the one on the Green Hill boundary.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Resolution. Whereas the municipal council for the municipality of the county of Pictou has adopted a policy with respect to general service area boundaries to provide for a standardized means of setting community boundaries. Whereas the municipality, the Nova Scotia Geomatics Center or the Emergency Management Office of Nova Scotia may initiate a change to an existing GSA where it is felt that the adjustment to the boundary will enhance and/or improve efficiencies of emergency responder service. Whereas the municipality's civic address coordinator recommends a change of boundary affecting property identification number, PID 00844-324, which are currently located in Green Hill GSA and will be extended to the east to accommodate new housing. Whereas the Property Services Committee agrees that the boundary change is warranted. Be it resolved by the municipal council of the municipality of the county of Pictou that council approve a change in the GSA boundary for the aforementioned PID number in accordance with the municipality's general service area boundaries policy. Dated Pictou, Nova Scotia, this third day of October 2023, signed by myself, Councillor Darrell McKeel, and seconded by Deputy Warden Wayne Murray.
You've heard the reading of the resolution, it's moved and seconded. And generally what it does is move some of this area from Alma into Green Hill, I believe, to make it so that the neighbors, when they're all the same community, when these new houses are built. In the words there, I guess. Are there any questions, comments on that resolution? Seeing none, I call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against, motion carried. Next one, Councillor Thompson, is the tourism marketing levy bylaw first reading.
Thank you. Resolution, first reading, take notice that following bylaw will be presented to the council for second reading on November 6, 2023. Be it resolved by the municipal council for the municipality and county of Pictou, the council adopt the following tourism marketing bylaw. Dated Pictou, Nova Scotia, this third day of October 2023, signed by myself, Councillor Andy Thompson, and seconded by Councillor Don Butler. So second.
Okay, it moved and seconded then that the first reading of the tourism marketing bylaw. This has been discussed extensively at our committee level. I know there's people want to comment on this, I'm sure. So I'll open it up. It has been moved and seconded. I'll open it up for comment or questions at this point. Go ahead, Mary.
I move to table this until we hold a public hearing on this matter. And I'd like to have the meeting to evaluate the support.
Okay, you're writing a motion to table this reading, and it's I know the important thing is that you're tabling it till when? You're tabling it till we've had a public hearing? Okay, so now we can't debate the motion to table. So we can only debate, is it how long we table for? Debate?
Yeah.
Not the motion itself to table. So that takes precedence over the motion on the floor. Is there anybody who wants to make any comment on not on the motion table, but on the length of time to table? Go ahead, Councilor DeBarge.
We should be able to hold a public meeting within the next 34 days, between now and November 6th. That should not impede the flow of the civil legislation if it's done properly.
Okay, any more questions or discussion on the motion to table? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote then on the motion to table. All those in favor of tabling until we've had a public meeting on this, please raise your hand. So the motion is defeated, motion to table. So now we go back to the main motion, which is to, as was spread out, it's the first reading, and then the county game reporters in November. Are there any comments or questions on that main motion? Go ahead, Councilor Sophia.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Warden. I would like to say a few words if I could. I think that it's been a long time coming that we support tourism here in Pictou County. I think we have preached for years that this is a beautiful place, and we have some of the most beautiful scenery and the kindest people, and it's a must-see place to put on everyone's itinerary. I think we can all agree on that. I know myself, I've been advocating for Tourist Bureau here in Pictou West for years, even speaking when I first got on council about having signs along the 106 to advertise local businesses as people were getting off the ferry. So they stopped here in Pictou County and don't just keep on the road to Halifax and Cape Breton, that they can see what's here. Again, this fall, I brought it up again, that the locals here, and if we get lucky enough for them to stop for gas or McDonald's, they're the ones giving them advice on places to eat and that sort of thing. So I really do believe that there is some tourism dollars to be spent here in Victor County that can make the county better known and accommodate its visitors that it's already receiving. Now, I feel that Dean's is a great organization. I feel that there's good people in that organization that are working hard. I do, however, wish that there is one thing, in my opinion, that's missing from this bylaw. And I think that there needs to be some recourse. We all know that, you know, not everybody lasts forever in organizations, and sometimes things don't go as planned. And I just think that there needs to be some kind of oversight for us in the municipality. If this levy, I hope it works out great, and it's exactly what the membership wants, and it's also does what we need it to do for the county. But I think there needs to be some sort of 5-year review or some kind of oversight or recourse, that if the membership feels it's not working, or the money isn't coming in like we thought, or it didn't go as planned, that there's some way that we can, as a county, have some kind of oversight or recourse. I know when Cindy McKinnon was here, she talked about having an oversight board, which is great, but it really doesn't, it really isn't on our side. Since it is us that will be receiving the text, we do have a role to play. And I feel that that is the one thing that's really missing from this, is some kind of review or oversight. So I think that there should be an amendment made to this, that we can look at this in 5 years and review it and make sure it's working the way it's supposed to be working. And if so, carry on, that's great. But if not, that we can have a look at this and have some time to review. So that would be my suggestion. So it's missing. Thank you.
You guess we need more than a suggestion. If you want to make an amendment.
Well, I would like to make an amendment to that we can look at this, whether in 3 years or 5 years, that we can look at this and making sure that the membership is still wanting this, from what we're hearing from Dean's, and that there's also kind of an oversight that it's doing what it's doing, and that we're reaping the benefits of Victor. So I'll make that amendment.
Okay, so therefore we have to have a second.
Point of order. I don't believe you can make amendments on the first reading. All those questions from Councilor Thompson was that you would notice that it will be brought forward in November. Time for your amendment, with all due respect, Councilor Appeal is November.
That's fine.
Yeah.
If we want it to be, if we want to make sure that it's done correctly, but I want to bring that point forward this evening. So if the amendment's made tonight, if it's made in November, that's fine. I'm just, that was the point I wanted to bring forward. It was done too long, so I just.
Okay, well, it can be done in November. I'm going to ask Deputy Warden Murray to take the chair so I can speak freely.
Go ahead, sir.
I've always believed in saying what I think, whether it goes this way or that way. I don't want to vote against the motion, not tell people why I'm voting against the motion. So that's why I asked the Deputy Warden to take over for a minute. I think it's a dangerous precedent in my mind for us to start taxing industry, even if they all want. I mean, this, I want to make clear, what I'm saying is not against the Dean's is a great organization for our county, and the people working for it are doing a great job. They can still do that regardless of whether this goes forward or not. But the precedent that we're setting of saying to the industry, tourism is an industry, that we're going to tax everybody, whether they're part of an organization or not, you're all going to get taxed because it's good for the whole. If we carry that forward to the fishing industry, they tell the lobster fishermen, that we're going to, a group has come forward and they want to promote lobster, and they have a group that promotes lobster now, but, that's an organization of fishermen. But if we suddenly said, we're gonna tax you all, to promote lobster fishery, whether you agree with it or not, and why couldn't it be done in agriculture, fishery, in manufacturing? We have a Pickle County partnership that promotes, industry. Would they say, well, if everybody paid a tax, then we got a better chance of attracting more industry in Pickle County? All those good arguments can be made, but we become a tax collector. Right now, we're a tax collector for the services that are supplied in this county. We do collect tax for our fire departments, but that's again a service that's supplied to all the residents of the county. Once we start talking industry, no matter which industry it is, then how do we say no to the next group that comes and wants us to collect the tax? If they're an organization, much like Dean's is an organization representing the forest or the tourism industry, how do we say no to the others? So I just want to make that point clear that that's why I'm not in favor of this motion. I'll be voting against it. Didn't think it was fair to vote against it, not that any 51. Okay, I'll take back over to the chair. Are there any further comments or questions on this motion? Councilor Beaver.
All due respect. You were the order. You were speaking on the content of the motion, why you were opposing it. All this is the notice that's coming forward. We shouldn't be debating the merits one way or the other.
Okay, I'll take that, but I wasn't in the chairs.
Oh, but I sort of that way.
Well, we're all learning as we go, then let's put it that way. We're having some more on how we are on meetings later here, so we'll get into that. Okay, so we don't need to, do we need to vote then on this, or is it notice? We do need to vote on it, even though it's the notice of the first reading, I should say. Okay, so when we vote on it, are we voting for or against what the meat of the motion is, or vote for or against having to go to second reading?
That's since you're moving it forward to second reading.
We're not really voting whether we agree with it or not.
If you vote the motion down, it doesn't move forward to second reading. So you die at the table. It's not, so your first reading is moving it forward to second.
Second reading, and the debate is being this.
Correct.
Okay. So is everybody clear on that? We're voting on whether to move it forward, and then debate is being at that time. Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Aye. And against? Motion carried. Oh, who were the two names? Okay, sorry. It's a little confusing, but we're voting to move it forward. Okay, motion carried, with 2 native votes. Number 9.1 is report on the school advisory council report. Councilor Beaver.
Thank you, Warden Park. I'll keep this relatively short. We had our first meeting of the year, 27th of September, last Wednesday. We're down a couple of ports in terms of the full membership. There's a revolving membership of parents. As their students age out, they drop off, they're going to put some more. We, of course, had the sad occasion of memorializing the loss of Mike Bray, who was our chair. So, yes, sir. That's been, there's some very good news. Anyone read today's evening news, not even news, the news, salt wire, however you want to call it, the story in there on the lunch program that has started. It started on the 27th of September. It's a free lunch program. Trying to supply 200 meals a day is the get-go. It's a collaborative effort between our cooking program, run by Paul Hayden, their agricultural class. I'm not sure who's run that. Might be Ms. Barasowski. And several other programs of sort of the family for funding. But they estimated the cost of about $1.50 or 56, like I saw on the paper. About that to 200, you get around, and that's per day. But the students are preparing and serving. They do have some sponsorship, but there's been significant public donation. They may be the first in Canada to try to offer this program. They're feeding their own students. And of course, there is the same as for the breakfast program. So kids don't go hungry. As we know, we're in a time when many families are stretched. And this is an opportunity to allow those who really need noontime meal, can't afford to go out, we're children that have back to lunch. But we get some nutrition in noontime. So I did inquire with the principal of the school, and they said, yeah, we will do all the councils. They got to get sponsorship for them. And I also want to mention, Karen Verosowski. She spends much of her time doing what we would call grant writing. And she has got significant donations to support this program. There has been a public policy initiative going on now for a number of years, pushing both the federal and provincial government to say it's time that it wasn't just a breakfast program, it was also a dinner program. We know it's a karma closet is involved here. Karma closet is basically a food bank that's been running for 5 or 6 years, and it's grown. Some of the assistance is coming from there is a lot of public support from the karma closet donations. Some of that is being used here. Anyway, it's very much a fly by the seat of the pants attempt to get this off the ground and provide, and it's on a first come, first served basis right now. They may try to target it more later, but whenever you try to start targeting food assistance, so that it becomes a statement. But it's a very worthy program. I urge you to read the story that's on the Saltwire News today, their site. You get a better idea of what's happening there. And I want to mention Paul Michael, who runs the government program, and their subsidy who's much of the organizing and fundraising for it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that report, Council Director. And I think this council has certainly supported all of our schools and some of the schools in the towns where some of our students attend, both for the breakfast program and the backpack program. And I think, if I remember right, we supported Farmer Closet sometimes. But and there was a TV program on the other day saying that the federal government is being pushed very to start funding some of this food programs in schools, but certainly Northumberland Regional High deserves full credit for the work that's taking place there and all the individuals that are pushing hard to make that happen. One good news from the Northumberland school is the litter problem has gone away. When they closed the convenience school, or convenience store, and there's no more litter problem up and down the street in Allen, but not for a good reason, but it's it's not there anymore because there's no store there. Okay, if there's no further comments on that topic, we'll move right along to our capital budget. I'll turn that over to our CEO, Brian Dunn.
Picking up on the survey that council members had completed in the identification of priority projects that would be considered as part of the capital plan. So the requirement for a capital plan is a 5-year capital plan. Capital improvement plan, this is what the official term is by the province. So a number of the items that appear in year 1 are items that were passed by council as part of its operating budget as capital over revenue. Other things included in the ongoing rural broadband project, the the Salem Water project was approved earlier this year. It's there as well. Looking at the other priorities, the council has indicated willingness to consider the municipal building renovations. That project there, if you recall, was $400,000 expenditure. Realistically, we're probably spending 50 million this fiscal year, the remainder in year 2. The water metering and radio head, that project could be eventually completed within this fiscal year. So those are the 2 of the projects that were identified through the survey results, and then dropping down to the sewer systems, Eureka, pumping station repair, as well as the hillside system repair for each of those. They're shown under other sources of funding. What is proposed to be used is the provincial sustainability grant, capital grant that we received earlier this year from the province that can be invested in municipal infrastructure. We received $1 million, just slightly over $1 million. So 200,000 coming out of that. So that is basically year 1 project or projects. Moving to year 2, there are a number of projects that were the ongoing internet project. And there's the sidewalk, the 300,000 there, Abercrombie sidewalk revitalization of Holmes Brook. Skip over that one, we'll come back to that one. The second year of the municipal renovations, the 350, and the Hopewell Eureka sidewalk revitalization. Again, those are targeted to use that sustainability grant. As well, you will note there's a figure in the Holmes Brook Sherwood Road Water Distribution Project of $336,195. We don't got that same fund. The reason for that is the fund actually has conditions on it. It has to be spent. You can't hold it. So they basically give you 2 fiscal years to spend it. So we have that spent by the end of 24-25. And it can be used to offset, the province does allow it to be used to offset the municipal component of any project. So they will allow it to be stacked against their money. The federal government will not typically allow you to stack anything on their money. They typically, the federal government puts a limit that they won't generally pay like 50% on the project. So the Holmes Brook Water Distribution Project, anticipating $5 million in expenditure next year. The sources of funding, provincial and federal grants of roughly 74% on that. And then the other projects that are identified as potential projects, Salem wastewater, of course, is still a priority, and it assumes that they will be applying for actually receiving some assistance there. The 3rd year,
Go ahead, Councilor Donovan.
On you, I've got a couple of questions. First one is the sidewalk design.
says design. Could that be changed to revitalization like the other two? Or construction, whatever it is, because we've already paid for the design. It's a little confusing for somebody's reading this on the street. And the other one is. Guess that's it for now. It's the Plymouth, should be construction or something other than design, because we've already paid for that.
Same applies on page one. It says the sale of laundry design is it goes to started on finally and the word design. But I don't know what it means. Just, okay, continue on and
So then in year three, projects that carried over, Brook, Sherwood Road, basically would be done over a 2-year period, just based on the size of the project. As well, the Salem wastewater project, just conceptually spread out over 2 years. Big thing, and then the internet, ongoing internet, vehicle purchase, some streetlight repairs. Year 4, it's really down to internet final year, and then year 5, just that this got some.
okay, one before I open up the president, I want to point out these air flow meters. That the amount we've approved this year in the budget at 205.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a lot of heat on about these flow meters to get them installed, because that's the only way they have it properly charging each municipality for the flow into Eric and Trenton. And I guess they were supposed to have been done 13 years ago, and haven't been done yet. So some municipalities that are very upset about that, and so there's a lot of pressure to get those in. So we told them we did half this year. We're going to put them on the heaviest flow lines, and we have to do the other half next year. Some of the other municipalities are in the same position as we are, but those flow meters have to go in. And are those going to go in this year? Do we have those ordered? Those flow meters?
We're anticipating getting them in this year.
This year. That's what we promised the this year.
I think we're either 4 or 3. We're debating whether or not we need 4 to capture the majority of the flow, or 3, but we'll have a minimum of 3 in by March.
And there may not be anybody district will be concerned. They are a big concern when we meet here at their Thursday. Go ahead, Council Thompson.
Just one question, then I'll make the motion here. The gas tax fund, I know they gave you a different name. It doesn't show up on the sheet anymore. Is that capital fund reserve?
No, it's considered federal.
It's considered federal. I'll make a motion that we accept the 5-year capital plan as presented.
Second.
Okay, so now we can open for discussion because it's been moved and seconded. All right, do you have a comment to make?
Yeah, well, there's a lot, like, I'm happy to see a lot of these small projects forward. The flow meters, all that stuff. These are all important things to do, and knock some of these stuff off the list and use some of that money that was sprinkled down from provincial government that we're prepared to have for it. And in year 2, like I said, it's nice to see the Plymouth sidewalk construction, the Hopewell Eureka sidewalk revitalization, and the Abercrombie sidewalk revitalization, all in year 2. It's much needed. It will reduce our liability in all 3 of those areas. We have the liability on all 3 of those areas. And it's important that we rectify these extreme safety issues immediately.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor Wood.
Mr. Chair, I'm just wondering, Brian, why the Little Harbor Sidewalk project was removed altogether from the capital plan? put up like the bid for years just to make sure that we don't lose it. Because at some point, we may be in a position to do it. I agree that the next 2 years, what's being done here are required, needed, and I agree with the, plan of the, renovating the overall sidewalks, getting them fixed and just, I don't want any liability from them going back to hell, but in any case, I would like to see our sidewalks stay on the capital plan.
So we didn't make the priority list. It will come back for reconsideration in subsequent years. It doesn't drop off the list. It's still there, but it doesn't make the official funding submission. But next year, when we do our capital budget, it'll be back for reconsideration.
I was just worried about getting lost. That's what I think.
So it won't fall off the list.
Okay, any further comments? Go ahead, Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. The year 2 and year 3, the dollars that are here are set. Today's dollars, so we're going to be $3. But the funds brought, for instance, year 2 was 5 million. Is that today's dollars? Or is that increased percentage?
That project is reflective of current day and based on funding agreement. So that's what.
So then figures would change.
It could change, and if it changed significantly, what we've been basically told by the province and federal government is that we can do it. Amendment to the scope of the project. I think so. The current scope is that it's 11 kilometers, remember, but that could potentially be shrunk down, but that will require both provincial and federal parties to agree to it. But it's current dollar estimates for all of these.
I think it's important that on the ones that we're funding ourselves, that if they go up significantly from the cost of here, then they have to back the council and the decision whether they want to do it.
Right. The only thing you are in essence agreeing to fund is year 1. Right? Those are projects that are going to be agreed to, and even those, if we see significant shifts in, and if that will have to go back to council. But the only thing that is guaranteed funding is really projects. Everything else will be dealt with at the appropriate time.
I want to make a comment on the sale of water and sewer projects. It's been disgustingly slow. We've lost another whole season. Telling people that this is going to have, I think all the towns have run the table for approving that we would pay for the water, but the board pay for the water and sewer, pay for the water. It's been held up all summer. Here we are in October. Nothing but some piles of gravel sitting in one place, and some people say it might be for that. It appears now, after several other holdups, that it's UARB that's holding this up. Here we are, an elected body sitting here that approved the funding of this for these people that desperately need decent drinking water. And yet the UARB is holding it up. And have been now for a long time. What more approval do we need? We got no approval from the province, so we funded it ourselves, and yet still an unelected body is able to hold this up. I don't understand. Those people aren't happy, and I don't blame them because, we passed it here that we would pay for it. Council directly here because the province wouldn't, and yet it doesn't happen because of an unelected body. On the Salem wastewater, glad to see it's still on there. It still is a priority of those people in that area for sure. It should be done now. At the same time, the cost of doing it separately is going to be a lot more money. So we're hopeful that a new federal program is going to come on this fall, maybe, that we might be able to attach some funding so we can finish that. It's just unthinkable that we would do one and not the other. Mostly because government was willing to help us, but they have been told that perhaps as a new federal program comes over this fall, there may be some funding on that. So I'm glad to see it's still on there, and we'll hope for the best. But I don't think we should have these bodies holding this up for a long period of time. So I have a question, through to Mr. McDowell. If we have any further progress from UARB on, so that people can start, it's getting pretty late, that's for sure, but is the contractor going to be able to start if we run much later?
No, we have no further progress from the UARB. Contractor is ready and set. They don't have project as soon as we receive it.
And is there a cut-off date at which they can't start because it's too late?
They haven't provided a cut-off date. They still believe that there's lots of time. I've spoken to them to get the project done.
Well, they're optimistic, because people are starting to lose faith. Thank you. So if there's no further, or go ahead.
So just a question, Brian, once this is passed, we would want stuff going for tender this fall.
In year one stuff, yeah, but once this is approved, then we can move forward with the various components of it.
Okay, so we'll, we have moved to secretary?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go for the vote on the capital budget. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. Thank you. Now we'll move on to two items that I asked to be put on here. One is NSFM's has put a call out for the last month or more for, as you know, they totally re-engineered the organization, and they now have regional directors, which our area includes Cumberland and Colchester and Pictou County here and East Hants. I believe that's the entirety of our area. And so we can put forth anybody that wants to put their name forward for that position of regional director. There's also positions open for president and vice president, but I guess the reason I added this to the agenda, I think it's important that this county, or particularly the council, have somebody on there. And I've been told that perhaps they haven't gotten a huge response to this call for the regional directors and the executive. And so I wanted to bring it here tonight to see if anybody is interested in, tomorrow's the new deadline. They move the deadline. When you see the deadline moves every time, you know that they're not getting enough response. So, anyone else for us?
Also, maybe we could like to leave there.
Would you be interested, Councilor Dave Burns?
I respectfully decline, because I just have a lot on my plate, so putting the thing on there is gonna attract some things I am trying to do. I appreciate the nomination.
I've thought long and hard about this, and I'm as busy, or trying to be as busy as my brother, but if nobody else wants it, I would put my name forward. Somebody wants to move a second. It's just because I've got lots to do, but I just feel our county should have somebody, and if somebody else wants to do it, I'm not gonna put my hand up here and saying, give it to me. If anybody else wants to do it, but you still have to get elected from within that body. There's an election held between those four counties, and there may be four put their name forward from Colchester or Cumberland, so I don't know. But I was told there's very few, if any, from Pictou County, that have their name forward there. You have to put down what your reason is for running. I don't think we, and this is not his fault at all through Council Wood, I don't want to take it that way, but I don't think that the body has spoken, clearly enough sometimes in favor of rural issues. And it's no longer a rural caucus and an urban caucus, but, and it's not just rural issues, it's, overall issues, whether it's policing or whether it's, we had several over the years, but that's just my personal feeling. But, go ahead, Councilor Dewar.
You not want to do it anymore, or you're not?
No, I've been 5 minutes.
Okay, so you kind of retired from it.
It changed too.
You lost the election.
It changed how things are now. They're different than when Council.
I just guess I missed out on that. Okay, yeah, I thought you got grants out of the game.
Yeah, and certainly if she wants to, I'm not gonna send anybody's way, that's not here at once. Councilor Boyce.
I make a motion that we, pick you, nominate you, Gordon to, be our representative.
And like I say, we'll do it, but I won't stand way if anybody wants to. I just don't want to see it not have a representative. I haven't always been a big fan of Venice FM, but sometimes I feel that maybe you can change better from. Don't say it's ground for complaining outside, maybe, you can change it from the inside. But I'm not, even if I get elected from that group, that's only, be 1 of 17. Go ahead.
I'll throw my name, that makes a difference.
But, no, you go ahead. I don't, I don't want it. I just want us to have somebody there.
Well, I'll put my name.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll withdraw my nomination with due respect to you, Council. I don't really know what the document was like. That was one concern I had, but, I just wanted to have somebody there. Okay, so Councilor Thompson, has agreed to put his name forward, so we need a mover and seconder. Moved and seconded by the deputy warden. Okay, I don't see any other hands popping up, so, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the deadline is tomorrow, Councilor Thompson.
You don't, you're planning to go on.
Speech.
Yeah, yeah, the details are on the line there somewhere, but they did move the deadline. Okay, let's move right along then to the meeting management review. And, this is, something that we agreed to or agreed to discuss at a later date, I guess, the way it was at our visionary session, the climate session last spring. And, so it came up here the other night, at a meeting as to what rules are we're following, so we need to make some decisions on what rules we want to follow here around our table, because it's unclear sometimes, and that's more unclear tonight there. Well, but, we need to try and make it as clear as we can. So that things. Oh, go ahead, Councilor Gill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. I'm glad for this to come to council this evening. This is something that we drafted in March. I think it took way too long to come here and be discussed. We had this meeting in March, and these were things that we wanted to happen in the coming months, and it's almost the end of the year. We literally have a year left of our term, and I have been an advocate for this from the beginning, that when a new council comes in, certain things should be adopted, they should be educated, we should have a set of rules to follow. I think, speaking as somebody that has chaired meetings here at this level, that we can run 50 meetings one way, and then the next meeting, it's not, something that happened is not okay. So I think whatever we decide as a council this evening, we have to all stick to, all abide by, and all respectfully follow. I think that's more important than anything with the rules, because we can put any rules up, but if we're not following them, sticking to them every week, and I say this as a chair of our financial services, then it really doesn't mean a whole hill of beans. We can't pick and choose when, you know, somebody says something we don't like, and we can, you know, use something to strike that down. I think it's very important that we do have meaningful meetings here and we do get things accomplished. Like I said, I'm glad this finally came forward, but I would stress to our members around the table here this evening that no matter what we decide to do, we all have to stick to it and to follow it for every meeting and be respectful. So was my 2 cents. Thank you. Dog bit.
Okay, now I don't think the lane is not coming here sooner. I did ask Joanne to add it to this meeting because I knew we had kind of run into a wall here at earlier meetings. That reminded me that maybe we better whatever get this done because the rules are a bit unclear right now. So we need some clarity, I guess. So the first part there, that first number of things really has to do more with the agenda and the notices of when the notices go out. So it's all attempting to move this back a ways. So we have a little more notice of what's taking place and also how we make additions to the agenda. And rather than just a one-liner, there's going to have to be more explanation. And I'm going to let Brian speak a bit to that part where it says the CEO will prioritize the agenda items and, you know, some things that can be handled without going on the agenda, then we'll handle it that way. So Brian, do you want to speak to that part of it?
I think generally your meetings will have a set order, so they will flow.
Very similar to what we have now.
Very similar, actually, what you have now is it.
This is actually pre that, you know, putting out the agenda.
Yeah, so it's really just looking at items that are in, and if we have all the information, putting them in proper meeting, which meeting it may go to, things like that. Does it have to go to meeting next week, or can we wait for maybe 2 weeks? Is really what the intent is behind that. Most of this, from our standpoint, is achievable. Moving it, in essence, the preliminary agenda would go out on the Friday, whereas it goes out on Monday. So that Friday, council members would have till Monday and goes in to add something, and then the final package would go out Wednesday. And then we've kind of redrafted our, we have a draft which we can include for the next committee meeting on the kind of proceedings, and then kind of add stuff after the deadline. If there's nothing that comes in late, just see resolutions, how that be dealt with. It's kind of in the policy. So the updated final agenda goes out Wednesday.
Versus Friday, it never now, we're moving it back to Wednesday, and everything else has to move back.
Yeah, the deadline is in essence a week before the meeting, and then that gives us a day and a half to put the total package together and have it to you by the.
So that's also a change in timing there, but there's also, and we discussed it at the time, there's when you make an addition or ask for an addition to the agenda, that there be, and this has been brought up here several times anyway, that there be a little more information to it as to, you know, what your end result is, what you're looking for. And, you know, so that the other councilors have a little better idea rather than just put in or words or whatever, have a little better idea of what the actual issue is and what the hoped outcome is, I guess. So when you ask for an addition to the agenda, please try to just describe it a little bit and what the end goal is. That's the effort there, I think.
And I think we've been doing that a little more at the community level. But the agendas has the action item
Yeah.
the desired outcome is, and then any background information is there, with that. Online form, we've been developing an online portal, so we should be able to put that in as well.
Yeah, if there's a form, you can put your, rather than just call, Savannah or whatever, and say, I did this, that, and if you have it on a form, that you can just go on the computer, put in what it is you want.
And then that is submitted to the appropriate people on it. See what's-
Okay, so that's sort of the pre, and then the, most, I believe, of what's, there. Now, some of the, what do you call it, Robert's Rules of Order, whatever we go by, and that's where we got in trouble here, at the meeting, because we're not clear on, so it says that the council member puts the agenda topic on the table and elaborate on framing up the topic as required, but no more than 5 minutes. So if Deputy Warden Murray has something that he had added to the agenda, he could speak to it, letting people know what was going on, why he's bringing it forward for up to 5 minutes. And if a motion is made, obviously it requires a seconder before moving forward with questions and discussion. Sometimes we're guilty of getting into a whole lot of discussion before we have a mover and seconder. If we don't have a mover and seconder, we shouldn't be having any discussion. Then we'll follow the council conduct guidelines via the council proceedings policy. Do you want to talk to that one a little bit? I don't want you to bring that forward.
Yeah, so it's really about, the council proceedings policy will, in essence, say, speak once, 5 minutes, and rebuttal for 3 minutes. So that's what.
So that's what, we have that now, that policy. So you'll bring that policy, send it out to people so that it's clear. But basically, it says each council member has the option to speak on the topic before any council member gets a second turn. I think we've tried to follow that, but sometimes we haven't for sure. So if no other council member wants to speak, then we'll go to a second turn to speak. But council members can only speak twice on any issue. But if you're the one that brought it forward, you're the last one that has a say. So here, the chair will speak once prior to the last speaker. So again, the use the Deputy Warden Murray as an example. He can frame it up at the first, and then he's going to be the last one to speak. And I guess myself or whoever's in the chair, Wayne, Randy, or Darrell, can speak just before the last speaker. The way I read that. So that would be the only time that the chair speaks from what I see there. So.
Yeah, that's probably contrary to
I wondered about
the rules of order. The rules of order would say you can vacate the chair as you did earlier today. Turn that over. You were still only allowed to speak twice. So you would vacate the chair, come back, and then if you had
If they only reads once, the chair will speak hours, yeah.
you are entitled to the same
As
everyone else, but you have to vacate the chair.
After vacate the chair, so perhaps that should be in here.
Yeah. So that's kind of in the policy draft that we're working on, take things up, and it's not last in essence.
No, it does say there, so
You
that's.
could be first, that you're controlling the order of speaking, so you could say, I'm gonna step down from the chair.
Yeah, well, it says here somewhere, yeah, the chair will frame the introduction of the agenda based on the submitted topic. So, yeah, I could say, okay, tonight we're going to discuss the bridge in Springville, which we don't need to discuss anymore. We'll get right to you, that's what it was, and just say why we're discussing this issue. And then it's the person that asked to put it on the agenda, if there is somebody who asked, perhaps it just became an agenda issue. You know, it's sometimes when I'm meeting with the deputy warden and the CAO, we'll come up with some items that need to be on the agenda because they need to get action on them or need to get discussed. But so they're not all going to fit into a nice neat little package here, but go ahead, Councilor Willis.
I just wondered, this is just something we're going to be adding to and trying until we come up with something, is it?
Yeah, it's open for discussion, yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I think that we should have is for our newsletter, I think it should be a certain tell us when it is, what dates it's gonna be on, so that we know, okay, that it's coming up on this date, this date, this date, this date. So we know, you know, when we can, then we can be prepared for stuff we wanna put in it, right?
Well, we know when our council meetings are gonna be, they can all go in, they're every first Monday or things like that on Tuesday, you know? But then our committee meetings on the third Monday. Is that what you're talking about, or,
What are the news magazine, because they're quarterly.
okay, it's not to do with this, and it's when the newsletter's going out?
Yeah,
Oh, so that you know, for your blackout card earlier,
it should be there if we know, and then it's, we all know that.
yeah, I see where you're coming from now, Councilor Deal.
I'm just having some issues, Mr. Warden, here with this tonight, because it's just kind of, these are kind of guidelines of things that we'd like to see, but this isn't like the full policy. This isn't what all the rules are. And I think we need to have all of the rules in front of us, not just some of them. I think a lot of times here at council, a lot of the problems arise because we're not all really truly sure of maybe what the procedure is. So I think first and foremost, we should have a full set of guidelines in front of us. And while these here are things that we as chairs, et cetera, spoke with when we had our meeting with Frank, I mean, these are kind of just, you know, ticks on board of things that we'd like to see.
Terrible the word.
Sorry, checks on the board that we'd like to see. However, I'm not seeing a full policy here. I'm not seeing a full procedure. There's no, you know, not a full set of rules here. And I think that's really what we're lacking. Because these are just a few points. I'm not seeing a full policy.
I think the objective of tonight was, because only some of us had actually seen these before, the board of the chairs, was to bring it here for discussion and see if then start putting it into a policy. But if all councils were totally against one or two things on here, then that's the time to eliminate them and come back with that. I agree, we need to full policy, but still we're sure that we have general agreement anyway from councilors as to whether that's what they want. Or we do the policy.
But I would add to that we need to make sure that these aren't going against the rules that we already have and in place.
That will depend on the CEO to tell us that.
Yeah, and I guess typically your council proceedings policies deal with the flow of the meeting, motions made, amendments to. You're never going to put all the rules in it. The Robert's Rules of Order book is very thick. So generally you put the main ones in, how to make a motion, how you vote on a motion, how you amend the motion, how you rescind the motion, typical things that might come up in a meeting. And then you have a catch-all phrase that basically says, when in doubt, you consult to Robert's Rules of Order on the issue. It's typically how you do it, because the book is, as I say, it's very thick, and it's not entertaining to read by any stretch. So that's typically how you frame your proceedings policy. But it's more about the flow of the meeting, how you get motions on the floor, how, if you make a decision, how you change that decision. And generally, if there's something that's not, somebody doesn't feel is in order, then how you adjudicate that. Simple things like the amendment, like we don't do our approve our minutes anymore, or what happens if somebody doesn't agree to a change? How do you fix that? So same things, that's where you would default to Robert's Rules of Order to say, how do you fix that? And it would say that if there's a disagreement, the only way you fix a disagreement is put it to a vote. Okay, so that's really what the policy will do. It'll frame up all of those things.
The policy can be put in place, providing, you know, we want people's point of view on what's here. This is that if anybody, you know, or a group of people, councilors that felt very strongly against something that's in here, then there's no sense putting that as a policy. these were the things that came up when we had the discussion with Frank, and, you know, we need to be sure that, people are in agreement, council's in agreement before we go ahead and form the policy. So part of the problem we run into here at council, that we're not having a wide open debate on something, so we're oftentimes some of us are speaking 3-4 times on it, prolonging the discussion far too long. If you know that you have 2 opportunities to speak, and we hold it to that, we all have to, as Darrell said at the first of this, we all have to agree to that and stick to it and make it work. But, and that's where our debates get way too long sometimes, as we go back and forth a half dozen times each, so people have to agree that these are what we're gonna live by and go by them. Then we can draw up policy easy enough, I think. Is there anything on here that anybody strongly disagrees with? David, did you have a point?
Disagree with it. The first thing is, Carlos suggested having. I don't know why you can't have a copy. Or I think there's like a Cole's version. This seminar I went to concerning where the meeting. What had you, that was what they suggested, said that Cole's version. That have quick reference when you run into a situation where we need to look over our guidance. I think it's, I really think we should stick to the, you can say twice on the topic. I think so we'd like 5 and 2, 2, 5 and 2, whatever. I'm sorry, but I think we should really stick to that. And the only other thing is when one of the councils talked for the order, I think it should be done respectfully and focus. I think when it's yelled out, jump yelled out, I think that upsets everybody. It just kind of throws the whole meeting out of whack. So I really would like to see something there just to talk when it works out. All councils do it. There's no harm in it. But it's just sometimes the way it's out and disruptive. Also doing it.
Okay, so we'll take it back and, between, Wayne and Brian and myself, will, you know, kind of, I think it seems to be general agreement that people would like to have it done, you know, in an orderly fashion. We know what the rules are. Go ahead, Councilor.
Well, I guess these are all good. It's a good document here. I guess the biggest thing for me is our meeting minutes. And I think we need, and I think it's a discussion for all the chairs, we're not just for the vet one. All the chairs need to be involved in this. Is that chair's job is to move the meeting along. That's their first job. You can call the chair, big call. But the chair should not be one providing editorial comment between speakers. Chair's job is to move the meeting along efficiently. And that's not happening right now. And that's why we get into the situation of we're here till 10 o'clock at night. So I think it's a conversation that all the chairs of the committees need to have. And it's adding about an hour to our meeting every time we get into one of these things. The chair's job, they can step out of the chair and make a comment. They don't even make a comment between speakers. And that's adding time. So all of the stuff is good. Rogers rules, we need to figure out how to work with those rules. And we need to know how to make our meetings more efficient, because this is a decision-making body. And if we drag things out too long, it's not the best way to make decisions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm kind of in agreement with Councilor Thompson. Many a nights that I don't participate in the conversation because anything that I wanted to say has already been said. And it gets into repetition. And, you know, if there's lots of stuff to be talked about, and I'll speak on behalf of the residents in my constituency that needs to be. But if there's something said that's of great importance, and it's already, the point has already been made, I will sit here again. The person has already said it. So I try not to get into repetition of comments. And it's not my
I just don't care if you need minutes or not. People may want that or not. The point is to make. And the second thing, that we have to respect the spirit of the law as well as the letter of the law. Okay, everybody, we're not out looking for a pound of flesh from each other. We're here to work as a council together. Okay, so those are my two things. If something's been said, if the boards, and I can add something, and I think that I can, I'll hand it up and I'll add it. But if it's been said, I'm not going to repeat it 4 or 5 different times. It's not my job. My job is to add to the discussion. Second thing is the spirit of law. We can sit here and talk about, giving somebody's pound of flesh, because these are not being followed. To be here all night, we give Robert's Rules of Order, and we can fight over Robert's Rules of Order until the cows come home. The spirit that needs to be in this council, well, I think we're moving towards it. I think that it's a lot better than it was previously, but those are my two thoughts on who we would need to sort.
Thank you, Councilor Turner and Councilor Elliott.
Thanks. I think we're all guilty of the length of the meeting, not just as chair. Or in the fact that one of the examples that I will use is when there's a guest speaker, every one that speaks thanks the speaker. Whereas, and we can cut all that out just by letting the chair thank the speaker at the end of the, and how many questions are we allowed to ask the speaker? That's what I'd like to know, because sometimes there's only ask one and sometimes somebody will ask 5. So that's making it longer too. But I think not taking it personal makes the meetings way better, because we're not here to discuss anything that's affecting us. We're here to be the voice of the people. But on the agenda here, it says additional proposed adjustments, and it says community announcements will be communicated directly through the staff and posted on the websites. Well, I think it's great that it's posted on the websites, and yeah, we can go through the websites, but that's not allowing us to communicate in here, because I may have something going on in my district. Somebody might not go on Facebook and see it or on the site, and then they'll miss out attending. I think we have to communicate our districts to each other in here. So I think taking that away is a bad idea. I think we should still do community announcements, but only make it community announcements, not something that's not a community announcement, just only that, because we got into trouble with that too. Thanks.
Okay, and Councilor George.
Thank you. Well, like I said, was one of the 3 things I wanted to eliminate about completely is the last 3. I feel like ever since the exhibition, and including the exhibition, I should have a referee's uniform on, because all I hear is you don't hear about nothing anymore, and nothing's getting done. I called down there, I called them. We have more people working for us down here now than we ever did, and nothing's getting done. And I don't mean the talk, and I'm talking about how upset people are with the internet. Like, they're getting dirty about the internet, okay? And you say, put it on the internet or put it on the website. That's fine if you live in Picton or Glasgow or Stutter or maybe where it's pointing. It's nowhere anywhere else, okay? So we better skip that part for a little while. Because I have neighbors that, like, I'm really surprised because it's getting so serious, because nobody will call them back. And this is not for a day or 2 this week, so not calling back about and I know I'm a little off schedule, but that's why I'm talking about that. It used to be, we talked about something in council, it went through the meeting and it was done. Now we talk about it, and still not getting it. And that's the truth. And people out there are seeing that. Like, if we're going to pay people big money or any money to be in charge of something, first thing we got to teach them is to call the people back. I go home every single night and I look at the phone to see who called today in my area or anywhere, and I call those people back. Well, if I was getting paid 3 times, I'm getting paid to call people back and tell them, well, you're not gonna get the internet, or you're not gonna get this. Tell the people that and get it over with, okay? You can put it on the website, you can put it on anything, but the people that are grabbing at me and maybe some of the rest of us, they haven't got a website to see it. Okay, they got no way of connecting with us at all. Only what used to be on the radio and the Advocate and the that's all going. If it wasn't for any condition, nobody would know there's anything going on in Pictou County, rural Pictou County. And I've got to give it to A and Kish. They are 100%. They look after Pictou County. Thank you.
Meeting on that.
Not morning.
That's actually probably, you're up next, and
Thank you, Board. I think just, when we have these sessions with the pipeline, these are things that came out of it. I think one of the biggest things is, when we get the agenda now, we know what's council has on, reason for that being on it. There's some substance behind it. Before, we were coming to council not knowing what it was, now we're going to find out what it is. Okay. As far as the other things, running the meeting, that's up to the chairs. Chairs that follow this. It's on councilors that have all say, just don't let them talk to third or fourth time. Give them little chances to wait, you go around the table, speak once. Somebody doesn't want to speak that first time, they can go to the person or want to speak the second time, but if somebody that never spoke before wants to speak, then you got to let them speak. But it's really up to chairs to control the meetings. As far as the motions go and things like that, if something's out of whack, I don't agree with having a full list of rules here. You have to probably knows majority of the rules, things like that. So we can always ask him. But it's really up to us as chairs to control the meeting, try to keep it. And one of the reasons behind this was for the meetings going through on school there in short. Right? And I totally agree with Larry. A lot of times we hear the same thing over 4 or 5 times that somebody already said. I agree with this also. Yeah. But I hate to keep those point cars.
You still win the record for the fastest meetings. Randy.
I don't know that to be broken, but it's really up to the chairs, and I agree. I think that we should leave in that community announcements too, because it doesn't take that much time for us to go around the table to at the end of the meeting to say, you know, what's going on in their community. So I don't see taking that out, it's going to take a whole lot of time. So I recommend that as being a change to take that earlier. It can be put on the website, but I think it should still be on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. I guess I'm like Larry, I don't speak right to the end because somebody already said it, so I'm quiet sometimes. But I think that the best thing we can do is, and here somebody suggested that the 4 chairs get together and come up with what their rules are. My suggestion.
And this is the first step of that, you know, hearing what people think of what's on here and move towards, and that needs to be done right away now, take 6 months. So if we don't have any further questions or comments on this tonight, we will do just that. We'll take it back with the other, with the 4 chairs and Brian and see if we can, come up with a policy, I guess. And it's our job, as Randy said, to stick to that policy, but we do have to, there you have the support of council. We say, no, sorry, you bet your 2 cents, that's it. Okay, so moving on to, the announcements. So we want to keep them, here they are. Go ahead, Councilor Watts.
Yeah, the Hillside Hall, we have a dance on October the 14th. The Copycats playing. Dance 9 to 1. $10 advance tickets, 12 at the door. So should be a good time. Thank you.
Okay, October 14th, Hillside Hall dance. Okay, and who's next? Go ahead, Councilor Dawson.
I've got a couple here. Bridgeville Community Hall is having a chili lunch and bake sale on Saturday, October 14th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's $10 for lunch and you get chili, bread roll, ginger cake, and a lemon sauce. Sounds good. And then the other one is on the 21st of October for the Plymouth Fire Department. They're having their roast beef supper. It's $15 and it's takeout. And it's again, it's October the 21st from 4 to 6. And I don't have any dates yet, but they're gearing up in Springville. Chester's going to be happy with this.
We couldn't find it on the vote last night.
Well, I don't know much more, but it's not Latin dance. Okay, so did you know that?
Breakfast.
It's Hunter's Breakfast is starting up again this season in Springville Church and Community Hall, and they haven't had it since COVID. Since the lockdowns, and the community's been asking for that to happen. And they're excited to be able to show off their new, making new community center with accessible washrooms and ramp and new kitchen area. They had a takeout dinner on Saturday and they sold about 200 dinners, or maybe less than that, I'm not sure. But it was a good number, and the community's really excited. And one more thing, I want to congratulate Joanne and Cammy Cumminger of Plymouth. They were recognized in Halifax last week. The award was at the Volunteer Awards, the provincial awards. They were awarded the Family Volunteer of the Year award. And it's so well deserved. Cammy's a long-serving volunteer firefighter. And Joanne she's like involved in everything. She's the minister of everything in Plymouth. So she's a fire guy. So congratulate them.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Johnson. I will say that I was asked that, the first one I've been able to get through for a while, but certainly the calendar for, very proud winners of that family of the year. That's a little problem. So, but I remember her being a cancer, on the help of cancer patients, navigator with the college for many years. So that was good to see. Go ahead, Councilor Willis.
Well, I think you missed, but you mentioned that the award were at the Ride for the Burn Camp out they had it out Western Road. They always had it in Honesty, but they had it there this year. But they wanted me to let you know that the last count was over $6,000 and still money coming in.
Yes, and then they had one for Scottsburg, I think, the JDRF for juvenile diabetes. The following Saturday, 2 Saturdays later, just this last Saturday, I haven't heard any numbers on that one yet, but these are great things. A lot of people are scared of anybody on a motorbike or whatever, but these fellows are doing a lot, or as fellows and ladies are doing a lot of good to raise money for a lot of groups. If there's no further, I've got a couple of want to mention. Oh, sorry, Councilor Dave Burke.
Thank you, Ward Partner. October 14th, 9 to 12, adult dance at the Fraser Event Barn in memory of Elvis Fraser, and the money is going, I believe, at $15 to get in. Money is going to support the construction of a new barn in Fisher.
Okay, I know there's a lot of fundraisers going on for that barn, for sure, that's good. Go ahead, Councilor Butler.
On Thursday evening of this week at 7 o'clock, Dr. Tim Webster will be speaking on coastal erosion at the Lismore Hall. And, he had a very successful presentation in Riverton. The Environment Committee here will be in attendance and have been promoting the event as well. So if you're not to follow meetings out by Thursday night, feel free to join us.
Okay, thank you. For any further, I have a couple myself. First on October 21st, which is a couple weeks ahead, they're having Sarah, which is the name of the new event run in the Salem ball field. They decided to work with the West River Fire Department. And so they're having a fun day for kids there, Halloween Day. And so I just wanted to remind everybody of the funds that we set aside in everybody's district for social events. I think we got, was it 1,200 each or 1,500 each? So to be spent this year. So that's where some of my money's going now, is to that event, because it involves two of the groups in District 6, both the Salem Ballfield and the Western Fire Department. So they're having a fun day for kids, not to make money or anything, it's just to have something for kids to go to a little bit before Halloween, but it's certainly Halloween themed and everything. And the other one I want to mention is Viola's Place. They know they got a tough winter coming. I mean, I brought this up here before, but so they're having a lot of fundraisers on the week of October 11th, which is next week, I guess. So on the 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th, there's a different fundraiser every day. They know they have 50% more people going to be there this year than they have room for. They just overwhelmed with the numbers right now. So they're trying to fix the basement of the old church up to see if they can take another 6 in there and still be under the fire marshal's rules. So if you're interested, there's a place called The Spot in Glasgow that they're having at the grand finale. They're having a bunch of bands there and a lot of silent auction items and everything. If somebody feels like going out for the night and listen to some music and bidding on some of those things. And I don't know what the investment price is, but it's not too high. If you want to camp out, first night is camp out to stamp out homelessness. And that's taking place really on the site there. And there's another one called A Grand in Each Hand. So the tickets are $10 and you win $2,000. And probably the odds are a lot better than $6.49. But I feel like all the other ones are shed. And again, there's that one, the she shed, right beside Superstore there. It's all finished. It's all insulated, electrical, everything done to it. So if you have company come, you get no place for them to stay, well, it's got a bed and a couch in it and everything. Oh, well, your company might be open. Anyway, if you could support those in any way, whether by buying tickets or taking part, going to the spot, they're going to need the dollars for sure this winter. And I do have tickets, by the way. I'm always looking for money to people. But anyway, just very important. I always say there's a lot of good people doing a lot of good there, trying to help people who really need the help. And they're getting some opposition now for the first time, I think, since they set up there. It's unfortunate, but they are running into some opposition, which is bound to come sooner, especially as the numbers grow. People, it's an envy type of thing, but you have to, if we don't support those in our society most in need, then that says something about our society. Anyway, that's no more events. We got a lot going on. It's a good thing we kept that on the agenda.
This is happening very well.
Okay, but I did like to the end. Okay, anything further on the community announcements? If not, I'll declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Please get back home. Don't hit the meeting. Yeah, somebody gets that.